one
No,
topic.
they still get this, right? Okay.
They still get that. We're going to pick one topic and just stick with that one topic. I know you can talk for 2 hours, but the whole point is to break this up on a weekly basis.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah, but I got more. There's worse stuff than that. Okay, go ahead. No, I'm
But
right
we'll
here
talk
with you.
about that next week and the next week and the next week. That's the whole
Okay,
point
I
of
forget
a
it's every
weekly
week.
show.
Okay.
So we're already rolling, George. You
Okay,
know, there's
I
going to be
know
a
that.
new theme.
You caught me last week, so I'm ready now. Okay.
Well,
I'm getting smart to this technology.
right,
Okay.
when the light comes on. If
We're on.
you understood Twitter, George, you'd be a little dangerous.
Oh, no, I don't want no part of that. I got enough enemies.
Hope everybody enjoyed episode 1 of the George South Show, and we're back here another week. We hope to do this, each and every week. Like I mentioned, George is with us on every Tuesday evening here at the wrestling school, so we'll record this before he starts practice and breaks in a new generation of wrestling fans. I had a lot of people write to me, and they were really excited about seeing George. I mean, the people that grew up here in the Carolinas, we see you every weekend at these shows and stuff, but outside of that, a lot of people didn't even know you were still around, believe it or not.
That's right. Yeah.
I'd like to tell people that George is there's not too many people like George. There's a few wrestlers that still kind of do wrestling as a living.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it, right? George
Yeah, exactly.
George hasn't had another job since you got into wrestling.
No.
And there's still a few people from your era and even before your era that still make it a living. Like maybe a guy like Buck Zumhoff, for people who live in the Minnesota area, they kind of know. George is our Carolina-owned Buck Zumhoff.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll take a ring anywhere. He'll speak in a church. He'll go to any wrestling show. But this is what you've done for your entire life.
Yeah, 31 years, Michael, as you know. We were joking Saturday night in a town in Shelby, North Carolina. I had a stuffed dinosaur, and we were ribbing Ricky Morton that this was his action figure, was a dinosaur. And, of course, they all said that was all of us. There's not many of us left that still do this for a living, travel all over the country. And I have joked with you, what was so amazing about Saturday night is my table was set up in between Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, and Al Snow. Probably 50 years of wrestling experience in between them. And I just got to thinking, I asked them so many questions that night, 31 years in the business. Nobody else on that show came up to them one time and even asked them anything. Watch my match or anything. What was so comical about it, me and Ronnie actually watched the first 3 matches. And then he said he couldn't watch no more of it. And that part of it really drives me crazy because those guys just don't know. There's nobody there that's trained them. And we joked about, and even Al Snow mentioned that there's nobody there to yell at anybody anymore and correct them. And so that's what I've tried to write in this great book is some of the stuff that I was told that once you're told, you fix it. And the biggest thing that I saw Saturday night, because a lot of times, even though I think I'm right all the time, I have to find out, and I like to know. So every match, a guy is going to slam a guy, Michael, as we know, and we don't teach here, and they would move the arm behind their neck and slam them. And I know that's wrong. All of my students know that's wrong, but I wanted to see what Ronnie Garvin thought. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if he told me that was the right way, I'd go back and change everything. But I didn't have to worry about that. As soon as I said it, he said it was wrong. He don't understand how these guys do that. And it's just as simple as when you slam the guy, you got him right. So just slam him. And, and then we've heard, Ole's famous saying, they said, well, that's how Triple H does it or Shawn Michaels. But Ole says if Shawn Michaels took a crap in the ring, would you do it? See? And so that's wrong. And just those little things. But it was just neat to hear Ronnie Garvin say that that's wrong. And it's a wonder somebody hadn't broke their neck. That's the thing.
And who would have been somebody when you were learning that would say, George, you did it the wrong way? When you say that, because a lot of the way wrestling is now, people go through a wrestling school like the one you have today, and then they go on their own and they go to a bunch of different shows, and some are good, some are bad, but there's really no one at that point that tells them what you're doing is wrong. Who would tell George South that you were doing it wrong?
Well, Ole was the one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he always watched the matches, and that's the difference of now and then is it was an honor to me to get yelled at. I mean, I knew then that, okay, once he told me that was wrong, I stopped it right then. And see, there's nothing wrong with messing up now. It's just fix it. And, the discussion this week was on that slam. Well, I've had several guys say that even that Damian Wayne said that he did it that way till Raging Bull yelled at him one night and said, quit. And he said, I stopped it. So if you learn and stop right then it's fixed. So Ole was real tough on me and a lot of the guys, but he just fixed it. And that's why I've lasted 31 years, Michael.
And George, and this isn't going to be meant to embarrass you in any way, but I know how much that means to you when you say get it right and do it right. I think this would be an appropriate point to show a clip of when one of your students did it the wrong way and how you interjected and made sure that they got it right.
Yeah.
Try again. Double fit. Oh, here we go. This is why you're here.
High risk.
I love how Sean Van Halen used that. Is that the Phantom Somersault? The Phantom
The lady
Somersault.
in the white is, I think, crying at this one.
Oh, that lady in the white. Who again? Uh-oh.
Whoa!
Is that the man? George South himself.
No, I think that's Eddie George, number 27.
Oh, Eddie George.
All right, Ben,
What's he-
listen, goofball, stand up.
Goofball.
That wasn't even a flying body press.
It wasn't a flying body press. Is he gonna make him do it again? This is the first here in $5 wrestling. They're gonna make him do it again. There's no redos in wrestling.
Remember when Jose Lothario taught Shawn Michaels how to train for WrestleMania?
He said, Sean, you get up there and do it again. Oh, there's the high cross.
And it's
a
high.
1, 2, 3. That is the finish, folks.
The Jose Lothario to Shawn Michaels. George South comes out and guides Sean Van Halen to a victory.
To quote George South, that ain't no high cross body, knucklehead.
So George, a lot of people that we just saw that clip. A lot of people, don't take that initiative. I know you did that out of love, but
Yeah.
you might have hurt his feelings that night.
Oh, I probably did. I don't think we've seen that kid since we did that.
You ran him out of the business.
Yeah, we
George.
ran him out of it. So, and there's probably a few more that we're going to try to run out of this business. See, there's a right way and a wrong way. I trust my students that have learned through me here with anybody. And it ain't just me being, just some old timer. The Jerry Lawlers, when they start asking for my students, and they're so happy to find out that that's who they're working with. And that's what's so amazing about Saturday. Al Snow worked with this kid that didn't have a clue, just point blank. And Al Snow's not there to get hurt. He's got a family to feed. He's got a job to do. He's there to entertain those fans and to have a decent match. This poor kid, oh my goodness, it was pretty rough. But after Al Snow smacked him right in the face, he smartened up a little bit. So, way to go, Al.
We'll close on this topic. You'd mentioned, I know you grew up in wrestling where you were looking at magazines every day, and that's
Yes.
how you related. You became a fan, and how you got to know about what was going on in other territories. People today don't really use magazines. We have the internet.
Right.
And today, you mentioned we lost some magazines that you grew up with as a kid.
Yeah, when we were all growing up, the only way that you knew about Bob Armstrong or even Hulk Hogan later on was through the wrestling magazines. And right here in Charlotte, I remember at one time there were 32 different magazines that you could choose from at one time. And you learned about all the guys, Jerry Lawler and all of them. But I did hear today that Inside Wrestling and The Wrestler is no more. That today was the last official day of those two magazines. And I don't even know, maybe PWI thinks the only one left now, but just another sad, notch in, my childhood of professional wrestling being gone. I know that there was just, no need for them, I guess, but I miss it. I still got all of mine. Don't know where my kids are, but I know where every magazine is I got. But just another sad thing for pro wrestling, I think.
Well, as we mentioned last week, we're going to do this each and every week to kind of bring attention to George's book, Dad, You Don't Work, You Wrestle, available right here at highspots.com.
And don't forget this either, Michael.
Oh, that's
We're
right.
giving this
And
away.
for a limited time, if you order through highspots.com, you'll get the backyard bash
Yeah.
or the boogie woogie bash, front yard bash at George's very own house.
Yeah, that's it.
Until next week, guys.